Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be talking about Bastyon, which used to be called PocketNet, and their coin PKOIN. So this is going to be a comprehensive, in-depth tutorial and guide where I'm basically going to cover everything about the platform, similar to what I've done in the past for Mines, Hive, and Library. And do stay tuned going forward, as I will be making more guides and tutorials just like this one. This is a great platform. It's decentralized. It's integrated with the blockchain. They have a cryptocurrency. You earn platform rewards. There's no identity verification or KYC. Lots and lots of good stuff packed into this. We're going to be diving into all of this today. This is probably going to be a very long one, around an hour or so, as I'm going to go through everything comprehensively. And then there's also a blog below or linked where you can see all the stuff we're going to cover today, but in a blog format with like how to and like pictures and screenshots and everything to kind of follow along with if you prefer to do that. Or if you'd rather listen and watch and go along this way, then this is how you can do that as well. So you've got both options. This was sponsored by Bastyon. As I've reached out to them, I got a bunch of answers to a bunch of questions to clarify, to make sure this is the most accurate it can possibly be. And they were generous enough to sponsor this. So I did ask them to do this versus them trying to pay me to do this. So I was going to do this review anyways. It is just beneficial that it was also sponsored by them. And I just was able to have that communication to clarify a bunch of things. So you guys are getting the best information possible. With all that aside, let's finally jump into it. Real quick, before we dive into all the nitty-gritty of everything, I'm going to show you the actual website and go along with everything that we're going to be covering. But just before we dive into that, I'll just go through the brief introduction and just generally tell you what we're going to be covering today, because there is quite a bit if you can see all this here. This is about 38 pages, 5,600 words, so quite substantial. If you do value this and if this is useful to you, then please do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, as I said before, there's no KYC requirements, which is huge. They've got all the basic features that you might expect. It's somewhat similar to Hive in a way. If you're a little bit used to that, you might see some similarities with the moderation and reputation and things like that. You've also got, your own keys. They made it easy for you to use multi-accounts, which is really nice. You're earning crypto rewards. They've got a messenger. All this great stuff is in here. We're also going to go through all the basics, of course, setting up your profile, posting, the feed, using search, settings, video content, and just some general notes about the content. We'll also cover a little bit more in depth and looking more into some of the less obvious basic things, like talking about where they're going in the future, diving into their white paper a little bit, covering some of their stats, talking about their decentralization and anti-censorship technology. And then we'll also dive into PKOIN and talk about the tokenomics, your wallet, the block explorer, transferring it, withdrawing and selling, buying and depositing, and the future uses of what we're going to see in the near future for PKOIN. So I've tested all this. I've done all this myself. We're going to go through all of this, and I'm going to do it again and demonstrate everything for you guys. So yeah, this is the Bastyon guide. And if you're curious, the team is made up of 24 developers currently. So yeah. All right. So the way that we're going to start is we're going to get into the basics and actually go through setting up a profile, getting started, and then we're just going to work through all of that. But essentially, you can find a lot of this stuff in their FAQ, a lot of the basics about the platform, what it's all about. Essentially, if you haven't realized by now, it's a social media platform that is using cryptocurrency for monetization. They give out platform rewards, and it's decentralized and anti-censorship or censorship resistant by design. So, and it's open source, similar to a lot of other projects I've looked at in the past. Let's dive into it. So this is Bastyon when you first come onto the website. Again, this used to be called PocketNet, but it has since been changed to Bastyon. First, we're going to take a look at setting up multiple accounts. As you can see, I've done a couple test accounts just to ensure everything is working. I've tested everything and done all the things we're going to go through today. We're just going to be going through it again to reiterate how easy it is and for you to exactly follow along. When you create a new account, you've obviously got to sign out. Then when you're on the main page, when you very first come on, you can sign. Here, let's make sure we see what everyone else is saying. So you'll see sign in and sign up. Obviously, you click sign up. The main thing is just, you set up your profile picture, which I'll just do real quick. And then you set up your nickname and your email. The email is not linked, so it's not very important, but obviously you should use a real one so that you can have that that connection to your account if you do need it. But realistically, the only thing that is going to matter is the private key or seed phrase that you get. You can set up your basic interest here if you want when you start. So your private key / your mnemonic phrase is extremely important, and this is how you'll be able to access your account in the future. Bastyon has no connection to your account. They cannot get this for you. Again, very similar to Hive in that someone is not going to be able to get this for you because they don't have access, which is good and bad in that you have all of the responsibility and all of the consequence. No one is going to be able to help you, but at the same time, they also can't manipulate your account or do something that is going to negatively impact you as well. So we copy these. You should write them down. And then I said that I saved them. So you can see how that works there. And then to actually add an account, you would just go in here and then you'd add in your private key. And then this is how you would log in. Obviously, in this situation, I'm already logged in. So naturally, that's obviously, you can't log in when you're already logged in. So that's the way to do that. And then when you actually go about starting to post and use the platform, you'll notice too, when you get started, they gift you a small amount of PKOIN just to kind of get you started, which is fantastic. Again, somewhat similar to Hive, where they kind of give you a little bit of a boost to get you going, and then beyond that is kind of up to you. So in terms of what we're going to go through, we've already covered the creation of the account. Now let's look at the profile for the account. So setting up your profile is fairly straightforward. You just essentially go into manage and then edit profile. A lot of your settings and everything are going to be through this way to get to your account. So it's your profile, either going to your actual profile username and typing it in the URL or clicking on your profile. You will be brought here, but all of your settings and a lot of the important stuff that you're going to be using when you're on this platform is under manage. So in manage, you'll see all the different things that you have available to you. And we're going to be focusing on the profile first. So this is pretty obvious, just setting up your basic bio, your website, adding all your addresses for donations and stuff like that. That is the basics for the profile. When we're talking about referrals, referrals are a little obscure in that they're hidden in your My Videos section, but you cannot start doing videos until you get at least 50 reputation or 5 PKOIN. So that is kind of the main caveat to start. And that's fair, I would say. It's because they don't want people spamming the network with and using up all of their available bandwidth and their storage, because obviously videos take up a lot of storage space. And if people who are spammers and all that kind of stuff are just basically DDoSing the storage so that no one else can use it, then that's going to be a huge problem. So they have this little caveat where you do need a basic reputation or at least 5 PKOIN to start doing that. And I think that's pretty fair. So that's not unreasonable. But because this is a new account, I will log out and then I will show you guys what it looks like on my actual main account. You can see here, my reputation is 831. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So when I navigate to my videos, I will also see my referrals. You can see I've referred 3 users, and you're able to earn a percentage of the earnings that they get. For the first 6 months, you will receive 20% of their referrals. They won't earn any less. You will just essentially get a bonus given to you. So it's not going to take anything away. It's just going to benefit you from doing that. So that is how you do that essentially. And you can actually find your referral link by going over to actually share something. Whether you're sharing something yourself or you're sharing it directly from your profile. So if I go to share this directly, I can add my referral link into the link. Or if I'm sharing my profile here, I can do the exact same thing. I can just share my direct profile link, Scotsy Business, or I can add in my social link as well. So that's the main difference, and that's how you will essentially get that. And I will include my referral link as well. So do check that out if you want to join and you haven't already. Now, when we're talking about posting, you have to be on the main section here to be able to post. So in this like feed view, you can get back to here by just going to Bastyon.com or clicking the logo. There's a bunch of ways to get back here, but you'll see where you can actually start posting right up at the top here. There's several things that you can do. You can just write a normal status post. You can upload a photo with that, or you can actually write a full-on article. If we click on this, it'll take you to a different view. This is an article that I've drafted and saved. So you can either go and start working on your saved articles that you've drafted. You can see the whole thing here. Or you can obviously create a new article by hitting new article, and you can just do all the same stuff here. So they essentially have all the different like mediums of content creation that you might want to do. They've also got upload video here. And as I said, you do have to have 5 PKOIN or 50 reputation to start doing that, but you can do this. And it's up to 4 gigs for the video, so that's a pretty fair amount. And with compression, you should never really go over that. I have hour-long videos that can be compressed to around 1 to 1.5, so that should never really be an issue. Plus, if you're getting a lot of views, they will actually end up, if you get views and you refer users, they will give you a big payout for every 1,000 users, along with this this view milestone of 15,000 views as well, and 5-star ratings. But that's pretty good. If you're doing well, or if you're a popular creator and you come over here, they're going to give you that little extra video bonus as well. So that's fantastic. And if you do want to check out all of your videos and how they're performing and all that stuff, again, you can navigate back to your profile and then manage, and then in the settings here. Well, this isn't technically the settings. I'm going to keep calling it the settings because I don't know what else to call this, but there is literally a settings thing that we will cover very soon. But this is just generally what I'm going to refer to it as, or we'll say like the Bastyon main menu, so to speak. But when you're in the video section, you can see how many unique people have actually upvoted you or rated your content, your overall ratings, your overall amount of videos. You get a daily uploading limit based on your reputation, and then you can see all of your videos and get links to them or whatever you want to do. So this is fantastic. And if you've just uploaded something but you haven't posted yet, you will see something like this, where it's like you haven't actually posted it, but you can create a post with the video versus something that is already posted. It tells you the amount of views, and then you can link to the post, all that good stuff. So that's everything for videos. We've already covered articles, but we'll jump back in there for a moment just to make sure we've covered everything. In the article section, just like everything else, we'll talk about in a moment the topics that you add here. But in terms of the way that you would use the article, it's fairly similar to the way Medium works, where you can select text and you'll get this little thing to be able to add different stuff. Or if you create a new line, you will see this plus option where you can add an image or embed a video. So it works very, very similar to how Medium is set up, or like how Minds has set up theirs. So this will be very familiar for people who are familiar with that. The last caveat to publishing is the topics. So there's a lot of different topics on here. There's the base ones that they've set, and then there's all the little topics, the hashtag topics that people have created themselves. There's no difference really. These are categories that are just created by the platform, and these are tags created by individuals. So, I mean, you can go either way. You can also create your own category, which I really like. And then you can add your own subset of tags, because you can only have 5 tags. So for me, I could just easily click decentralization, and then that will add all of these tags. And that's very, very useful for me. So I could just click that and it'll auto add the first 5. And also, when you're looking at the actual feed, I guess we'll jump into the feed next. This is what the feed looks like. You've got latest comments on the right side, all of the latest things going on at the top videos, and then just the generic feed of all the posts and stuff like that. You will notice the feed is a little, it's a little more of like an alt tech kind of thing now, because it's still a small growing community. But the good thing is that you're going to find a lot of uncensorable content on here. So like most platforms with anti-censorship and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get a specific subset of content, but you have the ability to filter through all of the content. So whether or not you want to start looking at things that other people have made, so you could just look at science, for example, or you could go into any of these individual categories. Again, I've created my own category so that I can just look at things related to PKOIN, finance, investing, crypto, decentralization, censorship, all that stuff. It's kind of a merger of blockchain and finance. And this just gives me all the specific things that I want to see. This is a custom tag that I've just created myself again. So you can just create whatever you want, and then you can just see the specific stuff that you want to see. And I think that's a great way to filter through your feed. Again, you can still use any of the created ones as they are, but this is the easiest way to see a curated feed of specifically the stuff that you would like to see. So that's everything for the feed. You can also see at the top here, all posts, just the people that you're subscribed to, only video posts, and then only top posts. And you could say over what time period as well. So you've got a lot of different options for the ways that you can filter content, essentially. The search is very straightforward. If you search for specific things, you will likely find those. It's not super different from just using the filters here and looking for content, but it might be easier to find specific people or specific things that you're trying to nail down. Obviously, if you go in and search Scott C Business, you will find me at the top there. But yeah, search is pretty useful. It works the same as most search engines do on social platforms, but I find it easy to just use the filters. So I haven't really done a lot of searching just because I haven't found it super necessary. I'm mainly just focused on the latest kind of stuff going on. Now let's dive into the actual settings. So again, when you go to your profile, then manage, then settings, these are the actual settings, but more or less the settings are kind of just notifications, or if you want to disable link previews and a few other things like showing embedded videos, auto playing videos or not, whether or not you want to send error reports, just some very basic stuff, as well as your overall theme if you want dark mode or light mode. And then you've also got your local storage and all that. So the settings is very, very basic. That's why I've sort of considered this whole menu as the overall settings. These are just the very individualized specific things. So that's everything for that. We've already covered video. In terms of verification, this is just a real quick one because you might notice that I have the verified blue check on my portfolio. Currently, this is being done manually. I asked the creator about this and he said that eventually this will be done decentralized and decided via voting, but currently you can apply to ask for it and it's done by the community or just manually But again, in the future, this will be decentralized. Currently, this is just a way to kind of help call out to new large influencers joining the platform, and so that they don't have any issues with people copycatting their accounts or anything like that. And then just one general note to remind you about content is you can't technically delete content because it is so legitimately ingrained in the blockchain. Similar to Hive, but there's no like 7-day grace period before it saves and, is for forever there essentially. The difference here is that you are actually hiding your old post. So if I were to delete this, what would really happen on the blockchain is it would be like overwritten and kind of like hidden, but it's still technically, there's traces that prove that this happened. Same thing with editing. It wouldn't actually be editing the original post. It would be posting a new one over top of it, at least in terms of the blockchain. And this is actually really good because then we know we have something that's immutable. Everything is logged and it's all on there. I mean, obviously there's the caveat of maybe you want to delete something 100% or whatever. But similar to other blockchain platforms like Hive, you do have to deal with the fact that a lot of this stuff is going to be permanent because it's on the blockchain. But they are giving you that way to kind of get around that and still be able to make edits and delete stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's only hidden, not fully removed, as the records are all kept. Now, we've covered all the basics in the first 30 minutes. So let's jump into the intermediate features. A lot of this stuff, I'll probably just share this with you and just like walk through it and talk about it, because there isn't going to be an easy way for me to illustrate all of this. So in order to cover ratings, we're essentially going to cover the reputation system at large. Essentially, the way that the reputation works is, as you saw at the beginning, besides your name, you will see your reputation up there in the superscript, and also on your profile beside your reputation. So this is essentially how many times have people voted for you, like this, and they've given you 5 stars. Essentially, what this is saying is how many people are voting you 5 out of 5 on your content versus 1 out of 5, which is not as bad as nothing at all, because if you get enough low votes, that will have some detriment to your profile. But essentially, the way that ratings work is once you get these 5 ratings or 4 ratings or anything, it all starts to add up. And that's what determines your overall reputation. So to actually get into the math of this, actually, you can go into manage and then click on reputation, and then you'll see this. So this says I'm verified, and then this is my reputation. And what the reputation allows for is, first, you need a reputation of 50 to post videos, as we mentioned at the beginning. And secondly, you're limited to the amount of actions you can perform based on your reputation. So again, it's somewhat similar to Hive. With Hive, it's based on your staked Hive, whereas this, it's based on your reputation or your minimum held PKOIN. So I can do, with my reputation, 30 posts a day, 30 videos. I can give out 5-star ratings. I can do 200 star count ratings. I can do 300 comments. I can rate 600 comments, and I can do 12 complaints. So they're limiting the amount of times you can complain as well. Again, this is all very similar to the way that like Hive sort of does their restrictions for moderation and everything as well. And I think this makes a lot of sense. So the way that the actual star ratings work and how they affect your reputation is this. A 5 is worth 2 points, a 4 is worth 1 point, a 3 is 0, 2, -1, 1, -2. And over time, this is what creates your reputation. So naturally, most of my ratings have been 5s and 4s, and that's what has gotten my reputation up. You start at 0, and you level up based on your star ratings. So as you saw at the beginning, I had a lot less limitations, or technically more limitations, but like less ability to post and do things. With that new account that I had, I only had the ability to post 5 times a day. And I don't remember what the other ones are, but you're very limited when you very first start off. Oh, I actually have this right here. So 5 posts, 5 videos, 15 ratings, 150 comments, 300 comment ratings. That's a good amount for 24 hours. That's probably more than you would really need. And with my current one, you saw what I'm able to do. So that's how the star ratings work, and that's what makes up your reputation. But really, it's just kind of like a way to deal with like bots and manage reputation and manage moderation in a very simple, easy way that's similar to what a lot of platforms have been doing. But essentially, you would just go through the feed and you would give ratings out, and this is how you would figure this. Like, this is how you would give out these ratings, and then hopefully also receive ratings. But giving out ratings is not necessarily going to ensure that you receive any back. And when someone does upvote you, you can also see the ratings that they give out. So you might be more inclined to give someone a 5-star rating who also gives you a 5-star rating. But ideally, obviously still be looking for valuable content to be boosting on the platform, because this is the way that we are going to moderate the platform. So you do want to make sure that you're not just kind of like doing like a vote for vote type thing, because that will end up hurting you and others on the platform if we kind of just spam this out. So we do want to be thoughtful with how we go about giving out ratings. So again, your reputation is the sum of all of your ratings, and that is the calculation. So this determines your reputation. Again, when I started doing stuff on a new account, it limits you pretty heavily, which is actually good. You're also limited by the amount of transactions you can perform within like a small time frame, because they have to actually be logged onto the blockchain. So you can see here, when I started a new account and I just started rampantly giving out ratings and just going around like crazy, it paused me and basically said I had to wait 10 minutes for everything to be logged and then go forward. This is just another way for them to deal with spammers. And just, again, because it is integrated with the blockchain, especially for a brand new account, you're going to have a little bit of limitations there. So that's everything for reputation. I think that's important to get into before we talk about moderation. So I might briefly like swap this around, the order, but regardless, moderation, it's kind of a unique model. It's different from what you might be used to, but it's slightly familiar for people who have been using Hive. Again, like most of this stuff has been. Not all types of content are allowed, but the enforcement is extremely transparent and up to the community in the way that it's dealt with. So enforcement is done by the community and is open. And there's no hidden stuff. There's no shadow bans. There's nothing selective or anything like that. Again, very similar to the way that Hive does it. You've got your reputation. And once you get to 100 or higher, you now have the option to complain. So it's like flagging a post on Steam or Hive or Blurt. And your complaints, I can only do 12 a day, so it is very limited. They're not trying to have you spamming complaints because they want it to be very accurate and only for very egregious things, not just like if you don't like it. And once you're over 100, you have the option to do that. And if enough complaints come in, that post will be hidden from the feed. If someone has 2 or more posts that are voted off the platform within 24 hours, they will be blocked from posting for 48 hours after the second post. And the complaint is completed when the number of complaints is at least 1/3 of the number of 4 and 5-star ratings. The idea here is that you could get a really popular post and then people complain because maybe they don't like it or whatever. This is basically just to ensure that if it's very, very well liked, they're not going to be able to just like mass spam complaints. And there needs to be a minimum of 10 complaints before this is taken seriously. And this is still a kind of work in progress for how they're building it out, but they're trying to make it similar to a merge between Minds and Hive, where Minds has like a jury that is selected to vote on these issues, and then Hive is kind of like community moderation, and this is like a blend of those two moderation systems. So we can have a user who comes in with a specific purpose to attack PocketNet or Bastyon, and to protect against that, if someone's reputation goes -50, their account will automatically be blocked. That's the equivalent of getting 25 one-star ratings and having no other ratings. And this is very hard to achieve unless you're basically spamming the network. And I asked the creator to clarify what happens when someone is blocked. This is currently the old system, and it will be updated so that going forward, it will be using the complaints system and the flagging, and then people will be chosen to be jury members and judge a piece of content. Again, similar how Minds does it. So they're going to select a group of people who are going to judge and decide whether or not this was fair or if it was a mistake, and then go forward based on that. And you can also make appeals, which will create another judge and jury kind of process, as well as something that's very important is your funds and everything will still be intact. Being blocked does not kick you out of your account. It just prevents you from posting. So you can be blocked technically, but it's mainly just for posting. So again, very similar to Hive. The main difference on Hive is that you can still post, but only people who follow you will see the posts. That's the really only major difference between the two platforms, because you could still access all your funds and do anything that you still need to do. The main thing is just your ability to create content. And this is mainly just to deal with spammers and things of that nature. So for your keys, we talked about this at the very beginning when we got started. It's just to verify that you own your account. Your private key or mnemonic phrase is 12 words as in a sequence or as a QR code. And essentially they're just using this and connecting it with your account to be able to log in. Again, you have to keep this very, very safe, because if you lose this, you lose access to your account, and Bastyon will not be able to get this back for you. This is all done through cryptography. It's basically the exact same as Bitcoin. Once you've gotten started, make sure to keep that. Again, you cannot reset without having the original password. And you can also find your private key if you have lost it by going to manage and then clicking on your private key. Like if you're still logged in, but you lost your key, you are lucky in that you can double check here, but do keep that in mind. If you leave yourself logged in, someone could just come over and check your account and find your private key. So do keep that in mind, that you should probably log out when you're not using it or have your computer locked. Now, for boosting and advertising, essentially this isn't out yet, but the way that this is going to work is it will allow you to boost content in the feed, and then you're able to get more visibility and be kind of like propped up on the feed and shown to more people. And thus, obviously, hopefully you're going to get more ratings, more views, more comments, more engagement, and hopefully earn more PKOIN as a result. So the way that the boosting works is, say one user would, submit their boost. And then the way that the boost is selected to be shown to someone, one user would only see 3 boosted posts out of 30. So like if you're looking at 30 posts on your feed, only 3 out of those are going to be a boosted post. So again, similar to how Minds does it, it's going to be like every 10 or so you'll run into one. So about 10% of the feed. So it's not terrible. It's pretty modest, and it allows people to kind of get their stuff out there by using some of their earnings or some of their PKOIN that they've acquired to be able to just get their stuff out there more and increase their visibility. By the way, I boost my content on every platform that I use. Every blockchain platform or crypto platform that offers boosting, I've always taken advantage of it, especially when it's first started, because that's the least amount of competition and noise, and you can get the most bang for your buck. So I definitely recommend checking this out when it launches, as I will be testing it out thoroughly. So the way that this will be shown, it's random, and it's kind of like whose posts are going to be shown. For example, it's random based on like a lottery in proportion of the boost. So they're randomly selected, and then they're put into those 3 boost slots for every user that's on the platform, essentially. So if you put in more, it'll make it more likely for your post to be seen. And that's essentially so that, like, if someone's putting in a very, very small amount, it's obviously less likely that they're going to win because they have less like entries to the lottery, whereas someone putting in more PKOIN for their boost is like they're entering more lottery tickets for getting their boost seen on the feed. This will be a little easier to explain once they've actually got boosting up and ready to go. But for now, this is all really important future use cases and features of Bastyon. That's why I do want to cover this. The amount you put in, yes, we covered that. The interface will also let you know the likely stats and the estimated results based on what you put. So like there'll be something like a slider, like on read.cash, where you see how much you're going to put in and what your results will be. As you slide it up, you will see more results, and as you slide it down, you will see less results, and it'll kind of give you an idea of what you can expect. Boosts will be queued up for bidding, and they last for about 8 hours. So regardless of how much you put, it'll last 8 hours. So the amount is more so based on the priority to be seen in the feed or not. You are competing with others, as I said. So especially when this first comes out, you want to be using it as much as possible to get the most benefit. And all actions for boosting and related to PKOIN will be done by a button below the post, and that allows you to boost the post. So essentially anyone will be able to boost a post, regardless if you made the post or not. And it's kind of similar to how right now you can make a comment and you can pin your comment with a tip. So in order to perform comment tipping, you have to comment on a post after you've tipped them by clicking on the Bastyon logo and doing any form of tip, but you have to beat the other top comments of tips to be able to get ahead of them. So you can see here on this Bastyon video, I did a 0.1 tip, which is the minimum, and my comment is posted and highlighted above these before you start to show all comments. Now, it won't be at the very, very top because you can filter them, but before you open up the post, it will show the pinned comment at the top, as you can see here. So this is 5 PKOIN. And then here you've got me again at 0.1. So in this instance, I'm only commenting on the PocketNet team account because this would give you the most visibility possible. Obviously, you can do it however you want to do it, but this is an example that would get you the most visibility that you could possibly get. So the way that this is done is before you go to make a comment, again, you click on the logo. You can do any kind of tip. I'm just going to do the minimum amount. And then you just write out your comment like usual. And once you post it, it will become pinned. Add the badge here, and you're good to go. So that's one cool way to use PKOIN for comment tipping. And all boosts are paid directly to the nodes in order to fund the networks. For advertising, these are paid directly to the user. Again, there is no burning in process. You'll be able to launch ads that are pay-per-view or pay-per-click. This will be similar to the way that Mine's offers work. So like offers, it won't be editable after the fact. You have the option to post forever, just for 24 hours, for 48 hours. There'll be different options and time limits for you to offer. And obviously the person accepting or not can accept. The way that this works is when you go to do an advertisement on someone else's content, they will be posting the content to their feed essentially on your behalf. You will send them the PKOIN and then they will make the post and it'll be logged in. The post is not editable and they cannot retrieve their PKOIN once they've made that offer and that has been accepted. You can create ads directly from the posting section or from the advertising section that they will create in the future. That will be in the manage area, the main menu. and creators will have the offers section to receive ads. So there'll be an ad section for you to create ads, and then there'll be an offer section to look through all those offers and accept them or decline them. And then presumably you'll also be able to, contact those people and work out maybe different terms or whatever it happens to be. Luckily, Bastyon does have a messenger. So it's at the bottom right here. You can click and you can open the messenger. This is great. And this is a perfect encrypted messenger for you to be able to do all of your chatting, and you can reach out to other people on the platform and all that good stuff all through the messenger there. So essentially the really good thing about Bastyon is that they've built out all of the main features that you need on a blockchain social platform, and it's already all baked in and it's integrated with the blockchain. So one of the big issues that you see with a lot of blockchain platforms is they're very hard to use, or they lack a lot of the basic features. So it's very, very crucial to point out that they've already achieved a lot of this. And usually when they do have this, they lack a lot of the blockchain integration, decentralization, all that stuff. But Bastyon also has that covered. So that's very important to recognize and acknowledge. We've talked about setting up multiple accounts. In terms of crypto rewards, I'm sure a lot of you are curious about this. How does the earning work? So the earning works essentially where rewards are given out randomly, and they're drawn from 25 winners are drawn to receive rewards from content they've posted per block that is mined. And I believe a block is mined every minute. Yes. So every minute, 25 users are rewarded, and that totals 1,500 per hour or 36,000 per day. Now, that sounds like a lot. But as there's more and more users, there will be likely less people receiving rewards, and that will probably start pushing the price of PKOIN up as it becomes harder to earn, and that's kind of how that will scale out. But they're trying to make it as fair as possible, not just you get way more rewards because you're like a whale on the platform or anything like that. It's all 100% random. You do have to receive ratings to be included because it's based on your ratings that you've received. So you still have to put out good content, but you're not just going to receive massive amounts of money because you're a whale, only because people are all massively upvoting your content and giving you way more likelihood to win the draw for receiving rewards. But that is done every minute. So essentially, if people are voting for you, all throughout the day, you'll be entered to win many, many, many times. So it's just depending how active you are and how engaged you are and how engaged other people are with your content. So it's also important to note that reputation does not affect your rewards. You do not earn more for having a higher reputation, and your votes are all worth the same. So again, there's no whales on the platform that can kind of overpower other people, which has been an issue or a concern for people on platforms like Steam, Blurt, and Hive, because a whale could kind of completely obliterate your post and take away all of your rewards. And I've had that happen to me. Though, it's still a great platform. PocketNet also features a unique direct marketplace where content creators can sell advertising to ad buyers. We've already talked about this. This isn't fully implemented, but this is just another way for you to be able to create ads and create ways to monetize and have content. Something that we didn't touch on is you can accept mass-produced ads, or you can offer custom placements. So you could charge a lot more versus just accepting a generic ad. So there's different options for you there as well. And that'll be the direct marketplace is where that will be done. And all this stuff will be linked in the blockchain. So it won't be like you hope someone's going to follow through or not. It'll be a smart contract, and both people will have to agree, and then it will be executed. So that's perfect. We've also mentioned comment tipping, and it adds a little badge and pins your post. In 2022, they're going to be doing this year, they're going to be giving out bonuses for all of the tips that you receive. So if someone gives you a tip, PocketNet Bastyon will give you the exact same amount as a bonus, and it'll be time locked for 1 year. So if I give you $50, they're going to give you $50. But you can't open that or use that for 1 year. But essentially, it is a way to encourage people to tip because they're going to match them. So you're going to be able to give way more to someone when you give to them, as well as it encourages you to be more active in hopes to receive tips because you're going to receive twice as much. So this is a fun way to encourage people to do a lot more for tipping. And then I also had the creator clarify a few things. Said, do you earn more PKOIN for having a higher reputation? We've already talked about this. You do not. And I do think that is important to understand because you don't want to have whales that are just obliterating the platform, essentially. It's also important to recognize that after 6 months, your ability to earn rewards on a piece of content expires. So Hive, it's only 7 days. Here, it's 6 months because anytime that you get a rating, you'll be entered into that random draw to potentially receive some payouts. There are no KYC requirements, which is fantastic. And you won't have to worry about anything like that on this platform. So, that's great to see. Messenger, we've already talked about this. Now, in terms of some of the more deep, heavier insights to the platform, like their roadmap, where are they going, stuff like that, we'll take a brief look at this. And I'm not going to get like super in depth because we've already talked about a lot of the stuff that PocketNet is doing, so we don't need to worry too much about this. But you also get the option to open up PocketNet and use the desktop app, which I'm also using, similar to how like Library works. It's more decentralized and it's just a better experience if you were to use that. But we'll dive into that in a little bit when we touch on that. And that came out in 2019. But you can see here, these are all the things that they're working on and what they've completed from the roadmap. Boosting posts is coming out very soon. And they will be coming out with an advertising system very, very soon. So, stay tuned for that. And then likely we will also see some new stuff with like a crypto store, some NFTs, and a bunch of new cool things coming. They're also going to be adding the ability to create an app store and for people to start creating dApps. So they're really going to start building out the ability for developers to start spinning up their own interfaces and getting involved and doing a bunch of stuff that you see happening on platforms like Hive. So this is really, really great to see. For the white paper, it is pretty in-depth, so we won't really be diving into that today. I've summarized most of it in the things that we've covered. And when we talk about PKOIN itself, the actual cryptocurrency, we'll be diving into a little bit more of the caveats there. For stats on the actual blockchain, you can go here and you can actually look at the blockchain and see some data from them. You can see that their user growth is amazing. They're growing at an exponential rate. People just interacting using the platform, it's all going way up. So that's really awesome to see. You can see a lot of this here, as well as, you can go and look through your own wallet. You can see all the transactions happening on the platform. It's just a great way to see all that, all what's going on in the blockchain, essentially. In the FAQ, they explain a little bit about the decentralization and how they're anti-censorship. It's an open source platform. They're using PeerTube, which is it's a great open source video hosting application. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a little bit more technical, but if they're using it, that's an easy way for it to integrate without you having to deal with the complexities. And it's fully integrated with their authorization. Every video server is registered on the blockchain, and all the details of that will be coming soon. A more in-depth breakdown can be found by reading the white paper. That will dive a lot more in depth to a lot of this stuff, which we're not going to flesh out so in-depthly. But for example, if the government tried to block your access, you can still get on Bastyon using the application. So if there was issues with even the domain address or something like that, you can actually go into the desktop application and connect via DNS, I believe. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And there's some more stuff like this in the white paper as well. And you can even simulate that by removing the domain and testing it out yourself. So that's really, really cool. Anyone can join without an identity check. And, posts are not chronological because of this, because you could have massive spam. So instead, the feed is based on merit, essentially. But this is the calculation. This is a little confusing, but the simplest way to break this down is that it's mainly based on, how many ratings did you get over the last 24 hours that were good? Is it boosted? Does the person have a high reputation or a low reputation? There's a decay rate for, like your reputation and the boost over time that will lessen its impact as it goes. And then you've also got the post rating, or rather the percent of the post rating. So like how many ratings are high and how many are low. And then lastly, the decay rating of that rating. So all of that factors in together to make the post feed, essentially. So it's not chronological, like it's not based on time and when it's posted. It's more so based on ratings and sort of based on an algorithm, but not like the algorithm that most people colloquially refer to as something that no one really understands. This is hard coded, and it's likely not going to change. So you can just go based on this and know that it's a merit based feed. So it's more so based on quality content popping up to the top. It's also important to recognize that there's no data being collected. And if you're using the application, you can still access it regardless of, if you're blocked or whatever using the application. This is the brief way to actually do that. You can get in there and add Bastyon and then connect via the actual application, even if you're having issues with the website or your internet provider is doing something or whatever. So there should be no issues, essentially. But this is how you can do that. And this is also in the FAQ. They've just provided many, many ways for you to ensure that you can have access and all these different backups and ways to achieve that. I've also included this on setting up a node. I am not so technically proficient that I'm going to be walking through all of this and doing this and setting all this stuff up. But this is what you would follow if you want to do something like that. I highly recommend it. It seems simple enough, and being a part of something that's new and growing and being able to contribute is, I think, fantastic. This is for the mobile application and the desktop application. I'm using both, so that's fantastic. You might have some trouble on iPhone, because they've refused to, within a 24-hour content notice, to remove stuff. So they've been sort of hit for that. But you can still use the mobile web app, no problem. I highly recommend downloading the desktop application because it is fantastic, and I will bring it up right now. Again, it's basically the same thing, but just on desktop, and it allows you to circumvent some of the issues around censorship. And that's fantastic. And if you use Library or Odyssey, that's kind of what this is familiar to or similar to, where it's like you've got the main one and then you have the application that is a little more decentralized and a little more protected and secure. And then you can make updates and all that kind of stuff as well. So I will just update that. Now, we're going to talk about the cryptocurrency itself. We're about an hour in, so I'm going to try to keep this brief. Essentially, PocketCoin, or PKOIN, PKOIN, it's a network token, and it's exclusively meant for advertising and boosting and just doing things within the PocketNet ecosystem. The emissions depend on the number of users that are on PocketNet and the algorithms that are tied to that. So like how much people are earning, essentially. And the digital advertising is also it's going to be a massive portion of what makes up the PKOIN ecosystem and like where that is going essentially. But in all, like simply summarized, PocketNet coin, like Pocket PKOIN, all of that revenue is mainly split between content creators and the nodes that are running the network. So that's essentially just to reward people who are keeping the network going and then rewarding people who are creating the content that makes up the network that keeps people coming back. So that's pretty fair. And you know, a lot of people have issues around, you know, where's the money going? How much are the developers being paid? All that kind of stuff. It's mainly really just split between content creators and the nodes. When we dive into the actual behind the scenes on the tokenomics, there's a total supply of 24.37 million. As we mentioned earlier, blocks are being mined every minute to distribute rewards amongst 25 different creators in a lottery style. Emissions are paid to creators, nodes, and the developers. So they are paid. They were paid via PKOIN from the early nodes. Now there is there is no money being made or being paid to developers. So that is important to note. As I was just saying, they were earning from the original early nodes, but they're not currently earning now. So they're basically trying to build a better platform in order to make the PKOIN that they mined originally worth more. So that's fantastic. It gives them incentive to continue to work on the network and make improvements and continue to iterate and improve. It's almost the same as Bitcoin's system, except with the ability for creators staking content and nodes that stake PKOIN to earn and support the system. Essentially, creators staking content is like where you're posting your content and then you're able to earn from that content for a 6-month period. That's essentially what they mean by staking your content. So it follows Bitcoins with the halvings and all the other mechanisms, including Taproot, which will be implemented into PKOIN very soon. The long-term vision is that PKOIN will become more scarce over time and less rewards will be given out. So naturally, the value will go up alongside that. Also, the advertising and boosting systems are intended to create a closed loop where the creators are earning it, and then they're selling it to advertisers, and the advertisers are buying it so that then they can pay the creators to do ads. So it's a kind of closed loop system that keeps the PKOIN running through the system as long as people are actually utilizing it and not just holding it and locking it up. When you actually take a look at your wallet, which we'll jump back in here now, to get to your wallet, you can either go through your settings or click on your wallet right here, and this will take you there, as you would see if you'd gone through the main menu. You've got your amount. You can send. You can buy either with a credit card or with crypto directly, which is fantastic to see. And then you can set up for receiving as well, because you've got all these different addresses and stuff. So we're going to really quickly go through taking some out, putting it on a platform to sell, and then after that withdrawing and then depositing it back into here, as well as being able to transfer and do all the generic actions that you would do on PKOIN. So we'll take a look at that in a moment after we cover everything else for PKOIN. So there's also a block explorer that we mentioned earlier. You can go and take a look at that to actually see all the things that are going on in the network. You can even see like what they're doing, followers that they're following, posts they're making, star rewards, ratings, all this stuff can all be seen within that. The current use cases of PKOIN are for tipping, transacting, boosting, and pinning comments. 50 plus PKOIN unlocks your account and removes the majority of limitations, utilizing the ad model, boosting content, and running a node and staking PKOIN, as well as very soon they will have PKOIN content paywall subscriptions, which means you'll be able to like say you can't see this content unless you pay, 0.1 PKOIN or whatever it happens to be, as a way for you to sort of set up a paywall and be able to sort of monetize even further your content from other users versus just the platform. Transferring PKOIN is fairly straightforward. As I mentioned, you can just get the address that you want to send to, type it in here. You can include a message along with it if you'd like, and then you can just send over to them very, very easily. We're going to cover buying, selling, depositing, and withdrawing in a moment. The future uses of PKOIN are mainly for advertising, as we discussed, which is going to be releasing very, very soon. The advertising is really the main thing, and it's going to use multi-sig contracts, like I mentioned earlier, with smart contracts, so that there's no issues between what you're actually accepting and what you're actually executing on. Everyone's on the same page, essentially, and it's enforced by the blockchain. And then you're automatically paid as that goes through. So that's the main future use. We've already discussed all the current uses, but that's kind of the main use going forward in the future. So in terms of actually withdrawing, selling it, buying it, and depositing it, this is all in here, but we're going to do this final part on the actual website itself. So let's jump into it. Let's use DigiFinix and get into it. So as you can see here, I've already deposited some PKOIN. So you can tell that this already works, unless, I mean, I could have bought this. So we'll obviously go through the process to ensure that I'm not doing anything illegitimate. Well, actually, you can see here that it was, in fact, successfully deposited and not anything other than that. So we'll just, we'll do a quick deposit here. Again, very simple. You just take the address that they give you to deposit to, which I took right here, or you could do a QR code, and then you drop it in here, and we'll just send over 1. Or we'll send 1.5 to ensure we cover all the, or let's just do 2. We'll do 2 so we ensure that we cover any fees or anything on the withdraw. So they'll tell you what the fees are. It's only 0.023 PKOIN, and I'm going to pay that on this side. This is just to say whether you want to pay it on your end or you want it to come out of their receiving funds. Perfect. So that was sent. This will probably update momentarily. Yes, so that has updated. And yeah, if you have the application, when you do come onto this platform, or if you refresh or whatever, you will be prompted to open up the actual application. You can turn that off or open it or do whatever you want to do. But yeah, so that's going through. While that is going through that process, since we already know that this has worked, let's take a look at actually withdrawing it. So when you first go to withdraw on DigiFinix, at least, you add your withdraw address. I've already added that here, so I've got it right here. And you can see that I've got my 0.52. So we're just going to say, let's withdraw all of it. There is a 0.5 withdrawal fee. That's kind of like the transaction fee slash the network fee slash, I mean, the majority of it is realistically the exchange fee, because you can see here that when I did that, the fees were only 0.0023. So here they're obviously taking a much larger portion, but that's really not unheard of for most exchanges to take a fee with withdrawals. Realistically, this is a very small amount of money, so it's not that big of a deal. I just have a small amount of PKOIN. So then once you've got everything good to go, you will go and hit accept. Oh, you do need at least 5 to withdraw so that you're not spending it all on the fees. Okay, so that makes sense. So we're going to wait for the rest of that PKOIN that I deposited to come through before we actually do this withdrawal. So for now, we're just going to take a look at the way to buy PKOIN directly. Again, you can obviously go on DigiFinix or Bitforex and you can buy it there and then withdraw, as we're going to do, or you can buy it directly with a credit card. They accept MasterCard, Visa, and India Coin. So you can do that here. Or again, you can also use a swap exchange as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but if you are going to use a credit or debit, you do have to do a verification. and you cannot spend more than 500. So I know a lot of people will have some hesitation there if you're very, gung-ho on the whole KYC thing, or if you're much more into fiat and this is the easiest way for you, then this might make sense to do as well. But either way, if you want to use like your credit card, you're going to do it this way. That's how you're going to do that. Or you can buy for crypto. And this is really useful because it's an easy way for you to use all these different cryptocurrencies in order to buy PKOIN. So I like this because this is just very, very easy, and it's a kind of like a swap exchange versus having to go through the exchange and do all this kind of stuff. You will have to do that to sell out, but in order to buy in, this is a very, very easy and quick way to be able to do that. And you have all these different options of what you want to use. So you can use something that's better for fees, and like something like Litecoin or whatever you decide to use, you've got the option to. All the different cryptocurrencies that they offer are listed right here. And this is all within your wallet. Let's go back and take a look at this. So we'll check on the current ongoing deposit and follow up with that. So it is going through confirmations on the blockchain before it'll actually be done, essentially. So we do have to wait for this to go through, and then we'll be able to actually go and withdraw. But you can see that obviously this is going to deposit, and there's really no issues with making a withdrawal from the platform to an exchange. It's very straightforward. It's very quick. And I will just cut this here and then jump back to when this has gone through, and then we'll do the final deposit and withdrawal. This was a success. We can see here that the amount came in. So I'm also going to test trading it and then trading it back and then withdrawing it and depositing it back into my Bastyon account. So let's do this right now. The easiest way is to go back into my balance and then hit trade, or you can go and look for it, but this is just easier. I will sell 100% at recent purchase, or just to ensure that I actually get it. Let's just do this. Not that I would normally do that. Okay, perfect. So that went through. We saw there was no issues. You can see here it was fulfilled. And thus you would have your $3 and you could withdraw that or trade that for something else or do whatever you want. I've tested withdrawals and deposits on Digifinix and Bitforex, and there's been no issues, so it's been fantastic. So I'm just going to buy all of this back. And that was fulfilled. So we've got 2.38 PKOIN, and we're going to withdraw this. So again, to get your address, if you just go to your wallet, you'll find it right here. But I've already got my withdrawal address set up. To do that, you would just hit add withdraw address, at least for Digifinix, and then you would add it. And then you would select it. I'm going to withdraw all. We're going to be charged the 0.5 fee, so do keep that in mind. And then we're going to submit. So once you've typed in everything correctly and you got your two-factor authentication typed in, you will begin withdrawing. This shouldn't take too long, but oh, that's nice to know that you can cancel within 2 minutes as well. That's good to know. But yeah, so that is going to be withdrawing. I'll let you know how long that takes, and then we will jump back in and finish things up. We're also going to test actually buying PKOIN through this swap exchange that they have. Again, to navigate there, the easiest way is just wallet, and then you scroll down and you buy crypto. You can also buy peer-to-peer on the actual platform, but it's not actually like official or moderated by any means. There is just a place to do that if you decide to go and do that. But once you go here, you'll be prompted with this. I've already got this window open here. As you can see, I've already prompted a swap, and that's what that looks like. But we're just going to do a new one just for the sake of demoing this. So all I did was, if you open it up with your address, it'll automatically open it up with your address. Otherwise, you can go in here and type it in. Copy paste, obviously. I've selected Dash because it's easy and very fast for me to test and just show you guys pretty much instantaneously. So we're just going to buy a very small amount. This is reset. And now I will just send a tiny amount of Dash to this address, and we will see this go through almost instantaneously. So as you can see, it was a success to withdraw this. There was no issues. It only actually took about 5 minutes, which is actually fantastic to see. And when we navigate over here, you can actually see that the amount has been deposited into my account, so there's no issues there. Very quick, very simple, very easy. I've also done this for Bitforex, so it's just as easy there. And you actually live just saw an update of the 1.29 PKOIN that I bought with Dash. And we'll go back here and take a look at this. Yeah, so this is completed. This only took about 9 minutes or so to do a swap through this exchange. Very simple, very easy process. And whether you want to get it really quickly and do it like this, or you're already on one of these exchanges, it might be easier. But realistically, if you're looking to buy with crypto, this is probably the fastest and easiest way that you could do this. So I highly recommend checking this out. And last but not least, if we're going to be talking about sending PKOIN to other users on the platform, all you really need to do is just have their address, type it in here. Everyone's address is publicly listed on their profile. So for example, you know, just in case this person has something crazy on their profile, I'm not necessarily endorsing this person. I'm just using the most recent comment that I've received, and going to this person's account, you can see their address is right here. So it could be like, hey, they gave me a comment, so I could donate on the actual comment itself, which probably makes more sense. But let's just say you wanted to give something back to them, and you can see that it actually shows their username once you type that in. And then you could send a message like, thanks for your latest comment. And I'll just send over a very small amount because, you know, obviously I don't have very much, but let's do that. And that has been sent. Fantastic. So yeah, it's really, really easy to utilize this. Fairly straightforward. But that's PKOIN. PKOIN is the infrastructure that helps run PocketNet. So there you have it, everyone. That is everything for PKOIN and PocketNet/Bastyon. Let me know if there's anything that I missed or something that I might have glossed over and you want a little bit more clarification on. Which platform do you want me to review next? Are you going to join Bastyon? Have you already been using it? If you do, make sure to use my referral link, by the way. Let me know all that good stuff in the comments below. I'm always looking for new platforms to check out. And I'm always a big fan of platforms that are actually integrated with the blockchain. They offer platform rewards. They're censorship resistant or anti-censorship to some degree. And a lot of the things that are encompassed up in Bastyon. So it's fantastic to see. I'd love to see more of that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching to the very end. As always, do comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below. And that way I know you watched to the very end. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scott's Business, signing off. Cheers.